Hello gardeners, it's me, your friendly garden educator, Leah, and today I'm making a video that's an add-on to one of the other videos I've done. So the second video in the series, if you'll remember, is Nip It in the Bud, and there I talk about why it's important to bud your plants to prevent any flowers from growing, so all that energy that would go into a flower goes into producing, well, produce. However, there are some instances where it's good to keep the flower on, aside from the ones that blossom into fruits. So let's head over to the garden and learn why we want to keep some flowers around. So it might be a little tricky to see in the video, but I can include some nice pictures at the end too if need be. The creeping thyme is just teeming with movement, and all of that movement is all sorts of different pollinators that are coming through. I've got some more right behind me here too. Some really lovely iridescent looking wasps. I've had some really beautiful butterflies come through here before. Some of those moths that look like hummingbirds, all sorts of little bees coming through. And this is wonderful for the garden. Pollinators are good to have because they help pollinate your plants, and that's how we get seeds and fruits. So I'm gonna pan over real quick or start another video to show you the sage, which was featured in the Nip It in the Bud video. So right here is the sage that I was initially trying to bud in the Nip It in the Bud video. I eventually decided to just let it do its thing because it was a constant uphill climb to keep this from flowering. Sage likes to flower in late spring, early summer. It's definitely like or my understanding is it's more of a spring plant. But I didn't really start getting super into this until late spring, early summer. So while I was getting the garden bed ready, I just let it do its thing here, and then it started to bud before I had even harvested anything. However, despite the flowering, you can see these ones right here that are looking a little paler versus right here, which are looking drier. It's still growing. So even if you do have your plants start to flower, it won't produce as much because that energy that would go into fruits is going into the flowers instead. But it's not the end of the world. You can still get a pretty substantial harvest. And before switching over to the arugula, I just wanted to show you just one really lovely little moth that was there. But I think I also talked a little bit about budding arugula. That I'm not positive on. There will probably be a little bit of text right here saying whether or not I did. But I want to show you something really, really cool with the arugula and why another reason it's good to let your flowers bud. Here's the arugula. It's right behind an eggplant here, which I just harvested a really nice big fruit off of like last week. But as you can see, the arugula is another one that has definitely been a constant battle to try and keep the flowers off. However, I'm kind of happy that there were some little battles I've lost in this one, because if we scoot down here, you can see a seed pod. So this must have been from a flower that I missed. And you know, when you find a nice big tomato fruit, there's seeds in it, right? Well, not every plant has a fruit like that per se. So instead, we get the flowers instead of the nice big fruit. We get a little seed pod. This is like the snap peas or beans, which I've actually got growing behind me, but I'm going to keep my focus on here. But what I'm going to end up doing with this is I'm going to let it sit on the arugula for the rest of the season potentially, but I'm going to try and let it dry out as much as it can. And then I'm going to save the seed pods and eventually thresh them to take all the little seeds out so I can try planting some more arugula next year. I will say that if you do decide to do this with plants that have some seeds on them, do be careful. And so it's going to be a little tricky to get these to potentially grow next year because I haven't been making sure that I will have viable seeds. And for plants like arugula and kale, there are some steps you need to take, but that's an entirely different big subject and a potential another video. So until next time, gardeners, that's all I've got to say about flowers and bolting right now. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.